Welcome to We Review Stuff, the podcast where, and this might shock you, we review stuff. Every week, we review 2 techie things and 1 wild card with a singular goal, to definitively decide what the best thing in the world is. I'm your host this week, Anula Vivitovska, and today I'm joined by the We 3 kings of content, Brodie, Adam, and Alex. Brodie, can you give us a taste of what you're reviewing today?
It's a fun way of clearing the craft from your digital photo library.
Ooh, interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have too many selfies in my photo gallery that I need to get rid of. So I'm excited. Adam, are you bringing us more soft crustaceans today, or can we expect something a little bit more hard-hitting?
I'm bringing something with a fairly firm exoskeleton, but it's a piece of tech that even after many, many months with, I still feel conflicted.
Interesting. I'm trying to think about tech that has a hard exoskeleton, and I feel like none of them really do anymore. All right, and Alex, the wild card. Just how wild are we getting this week?
I've got a piece of tech that I've had for almost 10 years that's withstood a lot of abuse.
Abuse?
Problematic. Okay, sounds like we've got a lot to get through this week. Don't forget to stay with us until the end of the episode, where we will rank all our latest review items on the list. I really doubt we're going to find something worse than the Threads tablet app, but maybe this week we'll dethrone the iPhone 15 USB-C. Dare to dream, folks. Let's kick things off with Brodie. Brodie, get us started. What have you got?
Okay, so I'm not the most frugal person in the world. I'll start with that. But one thing I refuse to pay for is extra iCloud storage. So I'm constantly clearing out photos. I'm not much of a photo person, to be honest, but ever since having children, you sort of can't help it. And not only am I taking more photos than ever, but now my daughter is also taking a lot of really bad photos.
Oh, I'm sure they have potential.
Oh, there's it's a certain style, you could say.
Expressionist.
This is the benefit of having a dog. You can take lots of photos, but, she's not also taking your iPhone to take photos.
Yeah, she's got no thumbs. So.
Yeah. And as someone who also has a daughter, I can say at this age, they are terrible photographers.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm really excited to play this back to both of your children, both of your children in 10 years' time. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and my camera roll is filled with videos that she thought were photos, which just takes up even more space. So great. So I've got an app today that's it was actually recommended from another great Australian podcast, the Two Broke Chicks. So a friend of ours, Sally, who is hosting that, recommended the Swipe Wipe app. It just gamifies sort of clearing out your photo storage. So I've cleared out the very earliest stages of my iCloud.
Is that 2016?
Yes, yeah. So the way that it works is really so simple. It's basically Tinder. I pull up the month and I swipe left to delete, swipe right to keep, left to delete.
Is that a drone?
Yes, that's a drone. I took a lot of photos of drones. I don't know.
I like that you kept one of them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No
Can't lose that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying it's kind of like Tinder. I mean, to be fair, the best part of Tinder is the gamification of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've stolen friends' phones just so I could get that, the exhilaration of swiping through people.
Yeah, it's it really is like playing Tinder. Even back when I was single, never actively was trying to find someone on Tinder. I was just playing a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask if the photo swipes right on you too? Do you match?
Yeah, I wonder what that drone thinks of me. So once you sort of clear through, it's just really refreshing to go okay, that month and period in my life is all sorted. The things that I have in there are all gold that I want to hold on to. It's super simple, but it also just has milestones that you can look at, how much memory you've saved over the course of your swiping. So I've only just started this journey, but so I've only removed nearly 500 megabytes, and I have 10,277 photos left to go.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say gigabytes.
That's a large iPhone.
Yeah, you're so close, Brodie. Just keep going.
Yeah. I could do this all day. But yeah, look, really simple app. And I thought it was a great recommendation. It's like a fun way to go back through those memories as well,
And then delete them.
Yes.
That's really interesting. Like, I actually love the concept of like gamifying any kind of mundane task that you have to do. I have to set a timer for like 15 minutes if I've got to do some tidying around the house. So I've like set a timer and see how much I can get done in those 15 minutes. Otherwise, I cannot possibly get started on it.
You and me both.
Yeah, like this kind of gamification seems like a way that you could actually get on top of the ever evolving issue of having too many photos.
Yeah. And I've not used the most recent Pixel phones, but Fergus was telling me that like there's actually like pretty good like AI solutions for this sort of thing, right? Like where it can like sort through your photos and tell like what are bad photos and what you would want to keep. Right now, my iCloud storage is just packed with screenshots of memes and
and those are precious.
pocket photos.
Yeah, you never know when you're going to need that meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Or when you're just going to go and re-download it again.
That's right.
Because you can't find it in your camera roll.
Sickos.jpg.
Does this app allow you to group your photos off as well? Or is it purely just like a swipe right or left situation?
No, yeah. So no organization in the app itself that I've found at least. You've just, the whole thing is just swiping left and right on every single photo and video. What I've been doing is going into library, the standard photo app and putting stuff into folders through there after that. Once I know that all the real trash has been deleted.
That's so many steps, but at least the first one is more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Brodie, it seems like you quite enjoy this. What would you rate it?
4 right swipes to keep it.
Next up, we've got Adam. Now, Adam, you teased a very hard exoskeleton, and I'm really excited to see what you actually mean by that.
Well, look, it's hard in comparison to a soft shell crab.
The bar is so low.
Yeah, no, I'm not insinuating that this is some sort of like super durable item. It's more durable than a soft shell crab. I've spent several months now with the Pixel tablet, right? And for all that time with it, I still can't figure out what I think of it. Maybe you guys can actually help me to come to some sort of conclusion.
Ooh, brain stress assemble.
Yeah, so this is Pixel's kind of first stab at a Pixel branded tablet. And it feels a lot like a prototype, right? So kind of the big selling feature of the Pixel tablet is that it's got the very cool speaker dock that you put it on to charge it, right? So it's got magnetic little dots on the back, and it'll lock onto that speaker dock. And you can also use it sort of almost as a Google Nest hub, right? But the odd thing about it to me is the compromises that they made along the way.
I personally love the dock. I think it's a great concept. I feel
Super
like
cool.
Every manufacturer should steal it. Like, my tablets are often dead. So I feel like the dock is just a great solution to kind of keep it topped up when you're not using it, and also make your tablet a bit more useful for those times you're not actively engaging with it.
See, I did agree with you. Like, I thought that this was going to be the future of tablets, like especially when it came to smart home integration. But now I kind of think that Apple's standby mode on the iPhone is the actual future of like tablets. Like, I just think that we don't actually need tablets for the most part.
I you know what, and I agree with you. For the most part, like there are some edge cases where I think tablets can be a great productivity device, say if you're an interior designer, but for most people, what a tablet is for is to hand to your child to keep them occupied. This is great for that. And in fact, I gave it to my daughter to play with. And after she'd played with it for about 10 minutes, she knew that I was going to review it, and she said, "Tell them it's a good iPad." So that was her review. That was her review. But the other way that families tend to use tablets is to keep kids entertained on trips. Now, the problem with this is it only has a Wi-Fi connection, right? So there's no 4G or anything like that. So streaming entertainment on the go is off the table.
But if you use your tablet so rarely, would you actually invest in a SIM card for it, Adam?
Yeah, why wouldn't you just hotspot from your phone?
That's a very, very good point. Yeah, that is a very good point. But I don't know. It feels like a strange sort of. It feels like a strange omission to me.
Still nice to have the option. Like, I just use a data share SIM with my tablet that I think I paid like a $5 fee for, and I can take that tablet anywhere.
But you could do the same thing with a phone. You have your phone with you where you have your tablet, and then you can just hotspot using the same data and not be paying.
Yeah, but I can still take my tablets away from my phone if necessary, or my partner can take the tablet away.
Okay, yeah, fair. When was the last time that you didn't have your phone within arm's reach?
Yeah, this is very true. And my watch now and everything else.
Like, let's be real here.
Look, you may be right. It may be a very rare case that you actually need a cellular connection on a tablet. But it just seems like the thing that's a kind of thing that's nice to have that makes it feel more portable. And the other thing that would make it feel more portable is if that dock actually had a battery to hold some kind of power where you could move it from room to room and use it as a Bluetooth speaker.
But Google wants to sell you a second dock.
Of course, yeah.
That's a good point. I guess, like you were saying earlier, Adam, that they really want this ultimately to live in the kitchen. It seems like that's the right place for it. Why would someone pay? How much is this? How much is this again?
$900.
Why would someone pay $900 for this when you could just get like a Google Nest home hub that ultimately is the same thing with probably a worse speaker, to be fair? But like, if you just wanted to live in the kitchen, why not just get the version of this that was the first one?
And I guess that's my question is, it seems like the sort of smart home hub features of this, you could get cheaper with Google Nest Hub. And the tablet features you could get cheaper with basically almost any low-end Android tablet if all you're using it for is keeping your kids entertained. And I think the other thing that it runs into is the problem that almost every Android tablet runs into, where if you look at the iPad OS, using an iPad feels like a bespoke experience that's very different from using your phone. Using an Android tablet, by and large, feels like using a huge version of your phone.
Yeah, Android tablet apps, as a general rule, suck.
As we have discussed extensively.
Oh my God. Like, I could do a whole episode just on how much Android tablet apps suck.
The situation has been getting a little bit better. Like, the tablet version of Lightroom on Android is just as good as an iPad. So that's one app.
There we go.
Yes.
That's one.
They got one.
But I did run into a number of apps that just weren't optimized for the tablet experience. And some of them that would start in mobile version and then, give you the option to switch to the tablet version. It's like, well, that's very odd.
Yeah.
I guess this kind of seems like pitched as like an entertainment device, especially if you're giving it to kids. So, probably like YouTube, Netflix, maybe some Minecraft or Fortnite, whatever
the youths are doing.
Yeah, it's just like, those are full screen experiences anyway. So like, how much does that mobile or tablet optimization matter when the apps are full screen experiences anyway?
Yeah, I suppose so. I think that what I like to feel when I pick up a tablet is that the UX in general has been carefully considered to separate that experience from the experience of using my phone.
I guess the one thing is, though, like, I 100% agree with you. Android apps on tablet are garbage, but can you hold that against the Pixel tablet?
No.
In particular?
Well, you can hold it against Google.
Exactly. Because Google has failed to create a bespoke experience for tablets. And it feels like the kind of it feels like a missed opportunity for something that this could have shipped with, for them to put a stamp on it and say, we are competing with the iPad with this product. It really just feels like they're competing against other similarly priced Android tablets.
Yeah. That's the vibe I get, is that it feels more like, as you were saying, Anula, like an expensive like Nest Hub Max, more like than a tablet, I guess. Like it just feels like the more in that lane than more in the iPad lane sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting proposition. Well, Adam, you don't seem to be very sold by it. Even after our discussion, if anything, it feels like you probably like it a bit less than when we started. What would you rate it?
Look, I don't hate it. I mean, it's a nice tablet to play around with, but it doesn't feel very essential. So I think I would rate it a poorly optimized app out of one great tablet app.
Okay, Alex, I'm really interested to hear what it is that has stood a decade of abuse. The suspense is killing me. There's still our bated breath. What is it? What are you reviewing?
The Roland TD11VK, my electronic drum kit. I got it in maybe 2014, January 2014, almost 10 years ago. There's like a little bit of rust on the metal bits, and I could probably clean that off, but it's the longest running piece of electronics I've had in my life, and despite the fact you literally hit it.
I've seen you beat that machine.
I think that's like incredible, that how much abuse it has withstood, and that it still works almost flawlessly.
Yeah, I can't believe that I didn't put two and two together about you beating and drums.
I mean, to be fair, it is sort of the job description of any sort of percussion instrument, that it's going to get hit a lot.
Yeah, it needs to be able to take a beating.
Yeah, no, that is very true. But like when you compare it to, let's say, an acoustic drum kit, you've got you've got your drum heads that you probably need to replace every year if you're kind of like practicing regularly, and you're looking at $30 per drum head for those in terms of replacements. When you've got actual cymbals, you'll need to buy new drumsticks every few months because they'll just get torn up by the metal.
What, really? That's a thing?
Yeah, no, like I've had so many drumsticks snap when I had an acoustic kit.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Again, like I think, the cost saving in terms of an electric kit versus an acoustic in the long period of time, like I think there's just like something really impressive about tech that's made to last. So for context, this kind of cost me around $2,000 at time.
Your cost per beat is great.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess this was 2014. So let's go back to that year. The iPhone 6 launched for at $869. So it was a very different economy. But this was the cheapest, electronic drum kit I could get with all mesh heads.
And why is that important?
So mesh heads feel a lot more like acoustic drum kit versus just pads that are you just kind of like FUD, and you don't get that same kind of acoustic experience on an electronic kit.
So it's kind of a tactile thing.
Yes, yeah, and coming from an acoustic kit, I still wanted that tactile feeling.
Now, this is obviously this piece of tech is super interesting, but I need to draw all of our listeners' attention to how it is that Alex actually practices his drums, because he has his drum kit connected to an old Xbox and it plays
Rock Band 4.
Yes, it plays Rock Band 4, and he's connected everything to it so that depending on where he's hitting, he's actually playing in the game at the same time. So this is just circling back to that gamification we were talking about with you, Brodie.
Yeah.
And it is just it's the most incredible setup to look at as well. It's how have you done this?
The dongle that I need to get the Xbox 360 MIDI to Xbox adapter to work with the Xbox One was a very small run thing. It cost me about $50. I've looked at eBay prices. It's now worth about $1,000 because they made so few of them. So this one dongle in my house is worth $1,000, which is insane to think about.
Feels like that's what we should be reviewing.
But a series of obscure dongles is how I get my electronic drum kit connected into my Xbox One.
That is a band name. I shotgun it.
It seriously is.
But it's just a really good drum kit. It's got a decent sound library, all the regular outputs. If I need to replace a drum head, it's all modular. I'll probably swap out the hi-hat pedal at some point, but like I'm not in a rush to upgrade, even though there's like newer, fancier models. For my purposes of, practicing and jamming and playing, it works really well. And it's just like, I'm really impressed by the longevity.
And I was going to ask about the sound. How is the sound? How does it compare to an acoustic drum kit?
The sample bank on the drum kit itself is probably a little bit dated. They're samples. They're not going to sound the same as acoustic kit, but for the purposes of practicing, more than good enough. There's a library of about 25, so you can just, you can go for something more jazzy, you can go for like a more metal sound. So there's a lot of interchangeability, or you can like load your own sounds onto the brain.
So you could make it bark like a dog. You could.
Yes, you could.
That sounds like it's probably the best option for most people. Like drumming is notoriously loud. And I guess it's notoriously difficult, especially I guess for like parents whose kids are really into it. Is this something that you would recommend for people, for example, living in apartments, places where noise might be an issue?
So when I was living in an apartment, like I didn't have any noise complaints from it until lockdown. Where I was playing a bit too much because I needed something to do. And, if you keep respectful hours, it's obviously going to be a lot quieter than an acoustic drum kit. And this model is a few years old. And from what I understand, there's been a lot of advancements made like in newer Roland kits that keep them quieter.
So I'm assuming that you can play and do play with headphones on, right?
Yes. Yeah. I always play with headphones on.
I guess that's why I'm asking is how loud is the banging?
I think it's more so the kick drum where, like that kind of thing that can like reverb a little bit through floorboards. I think inside, like within the house, like it's not too bad. Like if there's someone living right below you and you're like kicking the bass drum. Yeah.
That is your job as an upstairs neighbor, though, to make as much noise with your feet as possible.
Yep, that's true.
But again, like it's still very different compared to, an acoustic kit where you're going to actually be making a lot of noise versus this is like a dull thud compared to rather than a loud kick.
I guess like I've just got one more question before we wrap things up. Knowing what you know now about it, would you ever go back to a acoustic set, or are you a lifer now? Like
playing acoustic kits is very fun, but I think of the practicality of an electronic kit, it just makes it so much more useful. You can do weird things like plug it into your Xbox to play Rock Band, and while everyone else is like using the Guitar Hero controllers to play along. You can practice with headphones. You can practice at most times of the day without pissing off the neighbors. I think for modern living, it's just a lot more practical.
What would you rate it?
10 out of 10 years.
It's time to add our new things onto the list. Our highest game on the list so far is Marvel Snap. And I think that the Swipe Wipe photo cleaning app should probably dethrone that, just from what you've been saying, Brodie. What do you reckon?
I love the app, but I play a lot of Marvel Snap.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you could compete against people swiping photos.
Is it not ultimately a card game, though?
Oh, yeah. Hey, not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like you probably like more joy out of Marvel Snap.
I don't know. I don't think you understand how nice it is to organize things.
Hey, this is a tough one because in the Marvel Snap episode, like I wanted Marvel Snap even higher. I do not regret any of the money I've spent on that game. Let's not make this about Marvel Snap. Let's wipe out. Okay, but I do think you've sort of like targeted around the right spot, in my opinion. It's around the Marvel Snap.
Maybe between the find and free and the meta AI stickers.
That feels very right to me.
Me too.
Like, yeah, I feel like I'm going to get a lot more use out of that than out of meta AI stickers. But that Find N3 is a mighty nice looking phone.
It is. Like, it's a beautiful phone, but I mean, first of all, the camera bump. I don't want to get into that again.
Yeah, but everyone else likes the camera bump.
I think love the camera bump.
Me too.
Yeah, but the problem is I'm right and you're all wrong.
But you're also outvoted, so
Yeah.
No, this isn't over yet. I haven't even argued my case.
this isn't even your product.
Yeah, I appreciate the support of it all, but and again, I was also quite taken by the Find N3. I love that bump, and I just loved it as like a foldable. I think we've sort of nailed the sweet spot there.
And think about all that screen space to swipe photos around on.
Exactly.
So as it turns out, we are sliding right in on spot number 9 for the Swipe Wipe app. Okay, Adam, you introduced the Pixel tablet as the first proper tablet to the list, but you don't really seem to be sold on it yourself. Where are you thinking that this is going to sit?
Do you like it more or less than softshell crab?
Oh, well, I think that the answer to that is pretty self-evident. I mean, obviously, it's going to sit between the concept of softshell crab and the ROG Ally. It's better than a bad handheld gaming console, but it's not as good as a crab that has molted its shell and been deep fried before it can grow a new one.
I would like advocate to put it lower. I'd advocate to put it between the ROG Ally and the Hungry Jack's $2.50 barbecue cheeseburger, because the ROG Ally seems to have more functionality to it despite being terrible to use than an Android tablet.
Yes, I would agree with that. However, it works as intended, right? Whereas you can't say the same of the ROG Ally.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like the ROG Ally is a powerful machine. There is fun there, but just such a pain to actually use. Whereas the tablet seems more or less like a...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, still like a pain to use though, because Android, but...
Right. But, as Android tablets go, it's fast, it's responsive.
It's got the dock.
It's got the cool dock. So I think it's definitely better than the ROG Ally, but does it occupy the same space in my heart or in my constant internal monologue as softshell crab? No.
And just to be clear, Adam also has a dock for his softshell crab in his kitchen.
That's true, because you got to keep
any time and have a little nibble.
Exactly. You got to keep that fresh, so you keep it on the dock.
I guess this is where we're landing. I guess softshell crab lives to crawl another day, and we can dock the Pixel tablet right between the concept of softshell crab and the ROG Ally. All right, Alex, you've been banging on about this drum kit.
Oh, man, you are on fire today.
Where are you putting it?
I'd advocate for it being number 1 on the list, because what else on that list is going to last a decade?
USB-C. USB-C, bruh.
But specifically, that's not USB-C. It's the iPhone 15 with USB-C.
Yes, but it's there on the implication that it's good for universal standards. Never forget that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me make a case here. First of all, we all intuitively know that the Switch belongs at the top of the list and will one day take its place there. Personally, cannot abide the drum kit going above the Switch because yes, it's durable, and yes, it's obviously a very well-made piece of tech, but it, by its nature, has limited appeal, right? If you're not a drummer, this isn't for you. So I think that...
If you're not a gamer, the Switch isn't for you.
But see, I would make the case that actually it is, because it's the most approachable of any gaming console for non-gamers.
And that is true, because at the beginning of this year, I remember sitting at the pub with a lot of you guys saying, I'm not a gamer, stop trying to make this happen. And now, how much time do I spend on my Switch? A lot.
Yeah, my wife is not a gamer at all, but she's probably sunk 150 hours into Animal Crossing.
It's building momentum.
Yeah.
Alex, I was a little bit quiet when you introduced the drum kit, because I was like, I'll save this for the end. But
swear to God, Brodie, if you have another bonus one, I am...
It's another Nintendo Switch.
You are out.
It's a Nintendo Switch OLED. I just wanted to say that when we came around and we played Rock Band on that drum kit, I felt like a god. I haven't played drums since high school, and I felt like I could professionally drum. Like I felt like I was like, oh, had this skill all along. And of course I don't. It's just the way that drum kit made me feel. And I was just fascinated. Yeah, I think it is an incredible machine.
But not as good as the Switch.
No, and if we're talking about like, okay, we're putting our stamp on this and saying, rush out and buy this.
I mean, do you want to feel like a rock god?
Well, I mean, we all do, but obviously, I would choose a different instrument through which to feel like a rock god.
The harmonica, right?
Yeah, the trombone.
The cowbell.
Ooh, even better. I just think that if you're looking at what is going to bring the most joy to the most people, that it's got to sit below things like the Playdate and the Switch, and to be honest, maybe even the cookbook.
I think that it should nestle itself between the cookbook and Ferg's microwave, to be honest. Because Ferg's microwave is clearly responsible for some monstrosities.
Yeah, I'd put between 3 and 4. I'd put it above More is More.
I think we're split because after, as I said, after playing Rock Band on that thing, I'd back Alex on that.
You think that it deserves to be number 4?
Like I said, I felt amazing. Like, yeah, I guess it's expensive, and I'm not a real drummer yet, but God.
But you will have like 10 years to get there.
I'll play devil's advocate here. You and Brodie are the two people who have firsthand hands-on experience with this, and you're putting it at that spot on the list. I get that. Okay. I can respect that. I don't have hands-on experience with it. I haven't tried to use it. It feels like a cookbook has broader appeal, but I'm not going to go to war over placing it below the cookbook.
Fine.
Any fun?
Fine. I should have taken the number 1 spot with that when I had the chance.
Yeah. This is because you keep downing on my soft shell crab.
Oh, that soft shell crab is getting out.
You've made a powerful enemy.
I've made a very soft enemy. Okay, I guess that settles it. The Swipe Wipe photo cleaning app has swiped in at number 10 on our list. The Pixel tablet has come in underneath softshell crab, despite its great exoskeleton, at number 14. And our wild card, Alex's very aptly named Roland TD-11VK electronic drum kit, has surpassed Molly Baz's excellent cookbook and the perfect drink bottle to number 4.
You're welcome.
Well, this isn't over, but you can keep up with the full list at reviews.org/au, or you can follow the link in our show notes. That does it for us this week. If you want to try your hand at reviewing stuff, you should review us. A 5-star rating and review goes a long way for a little baby podcast like ours, and we would really appreciate your support. If you want to get in touch, or you've got something you'd like us to review, slide into our DMs on any of the platforms. You'll find links in our show notes. Brodie, if they want to slide into your DMs, where can they do that?
Not on the socials, unfortunately, but if you want to follow some of our work, I'd definitely recommend heading to reviews.org/au and checking out the Watchlist newsletter, where the team is sharing their streaming recommendations every week.
Alternatively, you can somehow get a photo of yourself onto Brodie's phone where he can either swipe right or swipe left. We'll find out. Adam, where can the people find you apart from, crabbing?
Well, generally over at reviews.org/au, where I write some stuff occasionally, or pondering the Pixel tablet in the dark recesses of my home, trying to figure out how I feel about it.
Excellent. We'll find you there. And Alex, where are you hanging out online these days?
In front of my drum kit, while I'm waiting for songs to load, or on Threads at Ahorosh, which is ACHOROS. The C is silent.
And as always, you can find me on Threads and TikTok at Anula Palooza. All of those are going to be in the show notes. But thank you all for joining us. And until next time, this has been We Review Stuff. And that's the stuff.